I'm happy, as in, I feel I'm finally starting to unlock some of my potential in this realm, and I'm feeling great. Welcome to Project 26, Week 7, and I just want to talk about my goals, how the last week went, and how I'm going to keep going into the next week. Now, to start with how this last week went. Honestly, in terms of emotions, it was a roller coaster. There were like days where I was feeling low and I was like, oh, can I keep going? And then you have other days where I'm like, ooh, I'm in flow. Like, this is perfect. And then you have days where like maybe I'm starting late, but then I grind my butt off and I'm kicking butt by the end of the day and I feel awesome. So overall, it's like there are different kind of ways that my days look, but overall it's good. It's good. And I think I've finally found a balance of, working hard versus being able to recharge and have time to myself, And also I just took a little bit of, stuff off my plate. And so I just have a little bit more mental clarity and mental space so that I can start to thrive more and really get into a groove here. So I think that going into this next week, I'm going to have a very good time. Now, let's get into the goals before we get into how we're going to move forward. And let's talk about what I actually did. So, yes, I uploaded one long form video on my main channel and 2 short forms. And then I also uploaded a bunch of videos on my other 2 channels that I started in terms of long forms and short forms. And so I'm feeling really good about that. I think I'm going to start writing that on here too in terms of the next weekly goal. But I think for now, this was a good week and this was a good way to go about things. And now, after that, you have stream 5 times. I did that. It's funny. There was a moment where I was like, I think I want to cut back the streaming schedule. Maybe I shouldn't stream 5 times. But because this goal was on the weekly goals, I did it anyways. And lo and behold, I'm at the end of it, and I'm like, I think that was the right choice. I really do. And so I think there's something about sticking with things that once you're past it, like you're kind of glad that you did it, even if in the moment you didn't think it made sense. And then after that, you have finished Atri, the visual novel I was working on, and I feel pretty good about that. I got that done. And it was fairly enjoyable, and I definitely feel pretty confident in my Japanese moving forward. And I'm excited to figure out, how are we going to change this for the next week. So let's do that, actually, right now. So for this next week, I'm going to upload one main channel long form and 2 short forms, and then I'm going to upload side channel 2 long 2 long forms. I want, 6 long forms. Let's just do that. And how should I say? It's 6 long forms and 12 short forms. Now, the basic way that I'm thinking that works is, basically the plan is I have 2 side channels, and so for each one, it's 3 videos, 3 long forms, and 6 short forms a week, totaling 6 long forms and 12 short forms. And actually, I don't have a main channel upload this next week, so I actually can delete that. So it's kind of funny how this works out. I definitely want to stream 5 times again. And then in terms of finishing a visual novel, I've decided it's going to be Doki Doki Literature Club, which is kind of nice because I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a break. Like, it's a shorter visual novel, and I'll just be able to go more in depth, and I won't have to read extensively. I can read intensive, meaning researching everything and making sure I understand every single word. So that's going to be nice. In terms of these quarterly goals, we're upping the standard. We're upping the standard. It's 5 times weekly. I'm still going to do, I feel like I need to clarify the main channel videos because I've already uploaded 10 in general, but I just want to clarify so that goal makes a little more sense once I actually hit it. And 6 visual novels, anime, and anime with subtitles. That looks good. I think my goal here is also actually to finish 2 anime. I'm thinking neither with subs. We can just do no subs on these. Of course in Japanese, practicing Japanese, that's what it's all about. But yeah, hold on. Yeah, because let's see. I've completed 1 anime this month, and I need to complete 4 by the end of the month. So yeah, this week I want to do 2. That makes perfect sense. Okay. And then, yeah, this looks pretty good. I maybe would be down to update the quarterly goals to account for the side channel videos. But I don't think it's that important or urgent to do right now. Okay, and here we have, let's see, 1 long form. Yep, team form every other week. Doing that just fine. Set up for stream outreach phase by 3/1. I guess that deadline is actually around the corner. I'm really split on whether or not I want to start uploading to TikTok and Instagram, because I've been uploading on Project 26 and I've gotten like no views and no likes or anything. And I've used TikTok before, I've used Instagram before, and usually by this point I'm getting like some likes and like some follows, but I think the systems detect my Project 26 as a bot. And I think that's because I don't actually use the platforms outside of uploading, and I'm uploading every single day. So I think it's like detecting what I'm posting as spam. Now the only issue is that if I start putting in the effort to upload to other platforms with my other channels, I'm also still going to be consistent, and I'm going to be uploading like, you know, every other day. And what's the point if it's just going to detect me as a bot, not give me any views or any traction? It's like, it kind of doesn't make sense. I'm thinking what I want to do is, after the YouTube starts to get some traction, because YouTube is generous enough to just give any account views right off the bat. Once it starts to pick up traction, then I can go ahead and share the TikTok and the Instagram and start posting there, because I have people on other platforms that will go there and they'll start to, flag my account as not a bot, so to speak. So I think I'm thinking we can wait on these. Like, I guess to me that's like I don't want to put it as a red, because red implies failure, I feel like. But maybe gray. We can gray those out for now, because I don't think that I want to start uploading on those anytime soon. But eventually, I think when the YouTube starts, picking up, that's when we can do that. And then we have, let's see. So we're going to do 3, and actually, you know what? I say 3 and 6, but that's per channel. So let's just do 6 and 12 a week for the rest of 2026. I like that. Stream 5 times a week. Yep. Stream 25 hours on 12 days. I mean, that's a partner requirement. I really don't have to worry about that now. Yep, I completed A-Tree. I didn't do an anime this week, so that's why I'm going to do 2 to compensate. And we're working on Doki Doki Literature Club. I've always heard of that one, but I've never gotten around to it, so I'm excited to finally read this. And then, Home to 7 Habits. I have not been thinking about this proactively, funny enough. Don't get me wrong, I'm being proactive in terms of whenever I'm in a situation, I'm like, okay, it's in my control. How can I change this? What can I do? That's like the number one thing on my mind whenever I'm just faced with any type of concern or worry. I boil it down to the basics, first principles. What can I do? What's in my control? And that's it, which I think that's the foundation of being a not a successful person, but just like a effective person, funny enough. That's kind of the name of the book. And then enact habit protocol. I need to do this again because, hey, schedule's gone into flux. Everything's kind of swapping up right now. I need to reevaluate and try to get back in sync with that. And then, output goals. I mean, nothing's really changed. For better, for worse, nothing's really changed. Losing those 6 pounds, it's not exactly going the greatest. I'm not gonna lie. We can talk about that here, but GLPT, that's looking good. I think I'm almost definitely going to pass that at this rate, because it's basically a reading test, and the volume of reading I'm doing is just kind of crazy. Okay, let's see. Use 0 social media except YouTube. Yeah, I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? No, these type of activities. Yep, doing fine with that. And then we have clean diet. And this is where I just come clean and say, no, I've completely fallen off the wagon in terms of the diet. I'm just gonna be entirely honest. I tried to mentally switch to, okay, well, if fasting's not working because I'm messing up and fasting, what if I just, instead of fasting, I have days where I only eat fruits and veggies? But it's that problem of, well, what about this item? Is this a fruit or well, it's on the edge of, like, let's say it's like a vegetable chip. You know what I'm saying? And it's like just those little things add up where you're on the edge of what's okay. You're on the edge, and then you just fall off, and it's very difficult. I'm not going to lie. I honestly don't entirely know what to do to really lock in on that. It just feels like the one thing that I can't get myself to stick to, which is funny because I've had no problem abstaining from these things, but yeah, I think it's because I'm like forced to interact with food every day, like more or less, unless I'm fasting, and so it's just hard to stay 100% perfect on that. And if once you're not 100% perfect, then it's like, well, I already failed the day. You know what I'm saying? So usually when I like talk about the problems I have, I think of a solution and then I enact that. Right now, I actually just can't even think of a solution for this because I kind of feel like I've tried more or less everything, like going specific in the categories. Maybe, what if I took away the no seed oils and said, okay, no seed oil, or like I can have seed oils rather, because here's the thing about that, and I've been thinking about this. If you eat food at a restaurant anywhere, you have no clue what oil they used. I guess you can ask, but even like depending on the spot, you might not get an answer. Yeah, and it just makes everything so much harder for like very little benefit, because to be frank, I looked it up and the seed oils aren't actually that much worse than not regular oils, but like not vegetable, like olive oil, avocado oil. The difference is just the ratio, I believe, in omega-6s. I believe they're like high in omega-6s and low in omega-3s, which can be bad for you if you have too much of it. But it's like not actually particularly bad for you in isolation if you just have enough omega-3s. So I think that's fine. And then that kind of helps, I feel like, a little bit. Just put me on the right track. I think the original iteration is fine. Of just fast the next day if I mess up. Just fast the next day if I mess up. And yeah, just gonna try to eat more fruits and veggies. I'm already doing a decent job of having more veggies. It's just I'm having more veggies, and I'm also having like bad foods that are bad for me, fast food, sweets, all that stuff. Just being honest, And I feel like having to be honest and like saying this on here is part of it, right? It's like this is accountability, right? If I mess up, I gotta say it. And that's part of the thing that would help me stick to it. Yeah, let's see. And, I think something about a renewed commitment is going to help me in this next week with that. And then, yeah, these are all just dollar goals, so it's not really that big a deal. We can just ignore those. And, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. In terms of the goals, in terms of how I'm going to go into next week, I think one thing I want to do out here, I'm going to actually add this as a weekly goal, is reenact habit protocol. Let's get that going, because I think it's important. I think it was very helpful when I was doing it, and I think it's going to kind of get me back, tapped in with my diet, and my habits are just going to be a little better. My sleep's going to be better. And I'm just going to be a little bit, I don't want to say stricter, but just a little more stringent in my behavior and make sure I stick to what I say I'm going to do and do it in, the right order more often than not. All right. Looking at this, I feel pretty confident that I can get this all done. I'm excited to get it all done. And I look forward to, talking to you next week. All right. Thanks. Take care. Bye.